I had a chance to look through your Instagram page. You have some beautiful art. You know, prior to NFTs, did you try to sell your art? And how does that compare to your NFT sales?
Yeah, so the way that I've been making a living in the past couple years here, like 5 years or so, is kind of more of an advertising model where I kind of built up a big following across different social networks. And then I work with brands to kind of monetize the attention that I'm kind of garnering. And that's what I think is so interesting about NFTs is that it provides a way for scarcity in digital art. So now there's more of an art market surrounding things, and I have to rely less on the commercial side.
And are you getting? Is it more lucrative in the NFT sales versus what you were doing before?
Yeah, so far it is. I mean, I'm curious to see how this market evolves. I think everyone's really excited right now, especially in a year where a lot of artists lost a lot of gigs because of the situation with the pandemic. But I was thrilled to collaborate with my artist friend, Xsulo, who I worked on that piece with. And I think that this presents a really interesting opportunity for artists to kind of finally be kind of taken seriously in the digital realm.
Emily, you want to go ahead?
So it seems that with this NFT boom, we're going to see a lot of artists trying to get into the NFT game, probably a rush of interest. Can you give some practical tips for artists who are trying to get into this? Like, what should they do? What should they avoid? Just anything that might help them navigate this kind of new terrain?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I first encountered this space was through my friend Jay and Silva. And he actually has a bunch of great resources through his artist collective called Made by Animus. And you can find them on Twitter and Instagram. That's how I learned a lot of what I know. But I'd say the number one thing to realize is that this isn't a new social platform. This is actually like a new kind of technology, like a new scaffolding for artists to engage with. And it's more of a artist and collector relationship. And I say that to say that it's very important to realize that you can't just, drop something on as an NFT that is something that was popular on social media. This is more about building community, and it's building a relationship online where you tell your story. So think about the story and think about the narrative behind your art. It's so much more than what we were able to do with social media platforms and stuff like that, and that's what I'm so excited about.
Do you have any warnings for new artists? Like, is there anything that could just kind of go wrong? Like, if you're, you don't really know what you're doing, and you try to get into NFTs, and then just like it could go horribly awry.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so much excitement right now, and I see so many artists rushing into the space. But I think the biggest mistake is people kind of treating it like when TikTok came out and kind of like rushing and using the social media model. And this is something that you really have to take your time and develop. A kind of like really robust narrative again. And you have to build up the community of people that are interested and engaged with your work, because right now there's going to be a ton of people flooding in. There's going to be a ton of competition, and you really have to stand out amongst all that noise. And I've been a part of different creative collectives for many years, moving through different technologies. And this technology is one I'm most excited about. For the Instagram era, I was a part of a collective and still am called Street Dreams Magazine here in New York. And we kind of all evolved with that technology together. And now kind of we're seeing this paradigm shift, and kind of whenever there's a disruption, there's kind of new high ground. And we're all artists are trying to figure out, what's my play here, and how can I get in and really rise to the top of this new world that's developing.
So, David, are you seeing a sudden boom with the sudden boom in the NFT market? Are you seeing all of a sudden artists rushing out and learning coding? What are the artists doing to themselves and to their art that's changed? And are they finding it hard for them to break into overall?
I think that because there's such a rush, like there's a huge demand on the platforms, platforms like Block Party, Nifty Gateway, SuperRare. They're getting from what I hear, they're getting tens of thousands of applications a day. So yeah, I'd say that it's hard for artists to kind of everyone's so desperate to get involved, and I would tell artists to be patient, and it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Dave, I wonder, sorry, if you're purchasing this art, what are you getting exactly? Because we just saw that piece in the beginning, 20 ETH. Anyone could just take that image and use that, copy paste or whatever. But as the owner of this one-of-one edition, what are you getting exactly?
So I think what we have to understand with this kind of new shift is that it kind of reminds me of like patronage. Like the collectors are investing in artists, just like in the traditional art world, right? We never had the opportunity to have digital scarcity. And so now blockchain technology kind of allows for this kind of tokenized, a good way to think of it as like a certificate of authenticity. So you're buying the original and it kind of shows that you are a patron of that artist and you are investing in that artist and you believe in their success and their future. And, if you buy an early piece from an artist, you have a potential to get a great return on that investment. So it's less of the internet relationship that we've had with social media companies, where they're kind of just like absorbing all this, what I would call like community capital, and the artist getting no cut of that pie. And now there's a way for us to directly kind of monetize our communities because of the digital scarcity that's been introduced. So that's how I think of it. As like, oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask, are you seeing, for instance, art advisors who normally would have advised wealthy patrons to buy physical art? Are you seeing them now advise them to buy digital art like this?
I would imagine so, because, look at what's happening with Beeple and Christie's deciding to take ETH as payment. All these developments are very, very exciting. And I'm, on this app Clubhouse, where a lot of these conversations are happening, I'm seeing all sorts of collectors from the traditional world kind of coming into the space as well. And I've fielded questions personally in some of those Clubhouse rooms where it's a traditional art investor just trying to wrap their head around what's happening, because I've never been a part of a culture that's moving so quickly. It's really moving at the speed of light, which feels appropriate for this thing.